Miroslav, so we talk about forgiveness between two people. We talk about me giving forgiveness to someone who did me wrong, or me receiving the forgiveness of someone who did wrong. But I'm wondering, to what extent does the forgiveness between two people imitate or reflect the forgiveness that God gives to us?
Yeah, in the Christian faith, the first forgiver is God. The first giver is God, and the first forgiver is God. And human beings are created in God's image. And being created in God's image entails a certain kind of imitating or echoing behavior of God, or imitating behavior of God. And therefore also, I think, imitating God's general generosity, but imitating also God's forgiveness. And so we learn how to forgive by observing God forgive him. Mm-hmm. We acquire reasons and motivations to forgive by knowing that God forgives. Mm-hmm. We, in the Christian tradition, say that we gain also power to forgive through the power of God in us. In fact, I think the claim is very strong, namely that it is the only one who can properly forgive, even in interpersonal relations, is God. Mm. I think that's implied in this story about people bringing two friends bringing the person to Jesus, and Jesus forgiving his sins. And the crowd says, but who's this person who can forgive? Only God can forgive. Mm-hmm. And Jesus doesn't dispute that. Mm-hmm. Jesus performs the miracle in order to show that he is God and therefore has the power to forgive. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important because in the long run, it makes my act of forgiving, it has many advantages, but one of them is that it makes my act forgiving more humble one. Mm-hmm. I participate in something that God does. I'm not kind of the great moralizers who know exactly what has happened, who knows who needs to be forgiven, to what extent, and how I relate to this act of forgiveness. I think when we step away from the deed and basically in a humble way recognize that our account of what has happened might be problematic, that our ability to forgive might be problematic, we simply seek to echo forgiveness of God through in our lives and through our lives. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the Christian way to think about forgiveness, and I think it's a humble and more effective way of engaging in forgiving.